I want to talk about uni today and how cheating is very rampant in certain universities. So, you enter high school and you're studying the same subjects all the way. You may have a mid-year assessment and of course a final year assessment and homework in between. But overall, your main goal is to achieve the highest score possible at those final assessments, which then you can use these results to go to uni. But for uni, things work differently. You have something called a weighted average mark, or GPA. It really depends on the uni system. Each semester, you take maybe 4 modules, 4 different subjects, and once the semester is over, you don't come back to them again. They're a done deal, you move on to the next 4 modules. In these modules, your aim is to get the highest possible score. Again, each module you do will contribute to this GPA. If you do well, it will increase it. If you do terrible, it will lower it. And how do you get high marks in each module? Well, modules are broken down into different areas that you can score. So, it will be split into different assessments you have throughout the semester with a final exam. The only difference it has from high school is that the assessments you're doing contribute to your final marks. So we're going to be talking about assessments first and why people cheat during those. So, like I said, assessments are already important because they contribute towards your weighted average mark. And everyone wants to get 100% for their assessment because it will maximize your potential marks. It's really a boost to be doing your assessments and getting full marks. So we need to think about why cheating is feasible during assessments. We all know in the past 2 years, COVID has been ruining our lives, and universities had to adapt too, which means less involvement on campus and a shift towards online learning. Online learning, which means online assessments and online exams. And it's only been recently that we've been transitioning to a post-COVID world, which means that uni is still going to keep around some parts of online learning. You're going to keep around online assessments and online exams. I'm going to be sharing my experience of how assessments are done in my uni. You have a portal where each subject is listed, and then you can select the assignments and do them in another online web page. And when you do the assessments, you're given 3 tries. You are shown a question and you have unlimited amount of time. Until the deadline, of course. And the website doesn't track you. They don't ask you to show your working. They look at your final answer. You can already see how we can cheat. You don't have unlimited time to do this question. You can go in, you can take a picture of the question, you can leave, and you can have all the time in the world to solve it. You can refer to lecture slides. You can refer to online help. You can get it through certain websites like Check, or there's a lot of calculators online that can solve the question for you and show you the steps. Those tools are really helpful for homework. But should you really be using something like that for assessments? Especially when the rules clearly state that it's your own original work, you're not copying it from somewhere, and you're not discussing it with other students. So that brings me to my next point, where many people discuss homework or assessments with other students. I actually had this happen to me a few times where people approach you and ask for help in assessments. The very easy answer that many people will tell me to do is just to say no. Just to tell them that this is an assessment, we shouldn't be collaborating, it's against the rules. There's one social aspect that we may not consider. So uni is a totally new environment. Some of us may have moved overseas, some of us may not be with our high school friends, and it's a really isolating experience for some. Classes mixed up all the time. You only see certain people in your class for one semester, you're gonna meet many different people. So, during those semesters, during those classes, the friends you make are going to be really important to you. Because if not, you can end up with no friends. Having no friends in uni is a miserable experience. It's quite isolating to be on such a large campus, studying, walking around, having lunch by yourself, and seeing other groups of people having fun, other friends group just doing stuff together, and you really feel like you're missing a huge social aspect of uni. We try to make as many friends as possible during lectures, workshops, tutorials, and these friends, since we're doing the same modules, naturally, you're going to want to study together. After you study together, you have assessments, they're going to turn to you for help. And what happens when your only friends turn to you for help on an assessment? When your friends are asking you for help, there's two things to consider. Whether you should help them, and if you do, they get an advantage that you don't. They can discuss it with someone, and it's going to help them. But if you don't help them, they're not going to be happy at you, right? They're going to spend less time with you, and you're going to lose those friends. Understand that they're not true friends, but do you really want to be alone? I mean, is it worth it to keep your morals, but be isolated in university? So it's going to be a really tough choice for students to make, especially international students, where they come from overseas and they have to make friends here. So that's one part of assessments you have to think about. Next point is that assessments are online. They don't track the other websites you go on, which means you can screenshot the question. You can type the question out in another tab, and previous students would have already uploaded the answers, because it's really rare for tutors to change the topics for each assessment. They're not gonna have the time to do that. And that's another advantage they have doing the assessments. They can search the question online, get all the steps, get the answers, or you can't. You decided to stay moral and you have to do it yourself. Which means that there's gonna be some questions you get wrong. There could be questions in there, very difficult questions that weeds out the strong students from the weaker students. And you're going to be caught in some of those. And in the end, your friends are going to have 100% in their assessments, compared to you, maybe 80-90%, because you wanted to do it the moral way. No cheating, no help, and does it feel fair that everyone else gets a free pass, gets a free 20%, while you get an 18%, a 70%? If this constantly happens and you see people cheating, and you're going to feel pressured to cheat as well. And it's something I really been struggling with, whether I should be helping my friends or whether I should just give them a few hints. I really don't want to lose the friends I made in uni, but I don't want to cheat either. It's a very difficult dilemma to move around that. It would be better if assignments were in tutorials where tutors can sort of walk around and make sure people are doing their own work. But since we're having COVID, it's hard to do that, and hopefully time will just fix this issue. Now we move on to the huge part, exams. And it's pretty much very similar issues with assessment. It's online. Even though there may be an invigilator this time, they aren't really that good at their job, I'll say. Because their main goal is to do research or work at the university, not teach or monitor students doing an exam. So why would you put effort into that? You log on into your social media and you discuss the questions with your friends, and that's just so unfair. Or maybe you could log on to check and look for past answers uploaded, or if it's an essay, you could have someone write the essay for you. This is just so unfair to students who actually work hard during the semesters. They go to every lecture, they go to every tutorial, they make sure they understand the concept well. And they get messed over by the grading, the bell curve, whatever. Getting marks is really competitive in uni because each percent counts. It's a small difference between an honors and just a basic pass score. I feel that's the reason why many students cheat. In some unis, they have this marking system called a bell curve. So, your marks are scaled in proportion to how well the cohort does. What does this mean? It means cheaters who unfairly get high marks will push your mark down. Even if bell curve or this kind of scaling wasn't a thing, cheaters are still going to score higher than you. And your ranking, in terms of scores, will inevitably be pushed down. People say scores don't matter in the working world, and sure, but these scores are essential in universities. You need maybe research opportunities, that needs high scores. You need to do better in the cohort, you need to be maybe a top few percent in the cohort. internship opportunities to work in those big companies. You need to be performing well compared to your cohort. Scholarship grants, that too. Postgraduate studies, graduate studies, all those look at your score in comparison to the rest of the cohort. So will you feel pressure to cheating, knowing that everyone else is doing so, and that you have this disadvantage, and you're going to miss out on many opportunities just because you choose to do the right thing? I feel that many people will be pressured into cheating. Exams are very highly regarded by society. So in Korea, in Japan, in China, they have these really tough exams. Why? Maybe high skill jobs are very rare, with a huge population trying to increase their standard of living through education. They want a better life. They want to study hard, get good results, and get a good job. And everyone aims to do that. When your society becomes very fixated on these marks, exams are going to be made tougher and tougher. You're going to need hours of studying to just prepare for the exams. Your parents are constantly reminding you that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer. You need to get good marks. You're constantly seeing other well-performing students get rewarded. It comes to this point where everyone studies very hard for this exam and their scores are very similar. It's maybe a 1 or 2 marks difference, but studying harder or longer won't really increase the score that much. So with these 1 to 2 point gaps, some students get desperate and they try to get these remaining points by cheating. I won't say it's completely their fault. It's more because of the environment that they grow up in that forced them to think this way. Even if they were to move to a different country where maybe things were more relaxed, it's not as stressful, they may still retain certain habits as sort of like a survival instinct. They still may be forcing themselves to reach perfection. It's been ingrained into our heads that we must hit perfection, not just a pass, not just a good understanding, but we must be perfect in the subjects we do. And this mindset stays with those international students as they go overseas. These mindsets arrive at the uni, they're introduced to the uni, and more students have to unwillingly adopt such a mindset as well. It makes me very miserable how rampant cheating is. It's just like it's like a knife in my heart that tells me that even if you're hardworking and you stay by the book, stay by the rules, it may not succeed because other people will use unfair ways to get on top of you. What happens if we have a cohort of students that got there using cheating? Will it be good for the workplace? Their way of attaining success is through copying other people's solutions online or referring to help. Will employers really want people with such skills rather than those who have a concrete understanding, those who know how to problem solve on their own, and those who are innovative and bright? Well, employers will never get to see those people, especially in Asian societies where employers look at marks first as a filter. You're going to filter out a lot of the honest and hardworking students that got their marks without cheating. And you're going to see all those high marks with a few bright students that still beat those who cheat and the cheaters. I admit that it's a generalization and it may not be true in all sectors. That's what I've seen in sort of the fields that I want to work in and anecdotes from other people. It's more of a discussion about cheating that I've experienced in universities and how I think it affects society. It makes you more reluctant to put in effort and work hard, knowing that others get it easier, get rewarded through easier means. Yeah, that's what I have to say for now. I can't really think of anything else. The only solutions I really have is that these assessments, these exams, they have to be in person. There has to be an invigilator around. And also, the questions should be changed each assessment. I don't know if they're cheating because naturally they just want to cheat, naturally they're just dishonest, or whether they have been or whether they've been spending a lot of time in an environment that encourages them to cheat, that forces them to cheat. Sometimes it's really not their fault, and we shouldn't be blaming them immediately. It's kind of sad to see that society rewards people like this. Well, society is kind of messed up, huh? Yeah, I'm going to be talking about it more in my future videos, so if you're enjoying this, me talking about how people are going to get ahead of you in life by cheating, I'm going to have more videos similar to this. If you don't enjoy this kind of content, you can let me know in the comments, and I'm gonna ignore it because I'm enjoying it a lot. Screw you. I have no idea how good I'm gonna do in the parkour later. I recorded them separately. I tried to do them at the same time. They don't work out. Like, I will be talking about something, then the parkour will interrupt me, and train of thought will just be interrupted. It's very hard to do both at the same time. I'm impressed by people who can, but when I do it, I end up with an incoherent, jumbling mess. Not that doing it separately has made a huge improvement, but I feel that I get interrupted less. Yeah, have a good day.